All right, let's just jump right in. Most of us are kind of planning our lives assuming tomorrow is just going to be a slightly better version of today. But what if it's not? The whole idea we're digging into here is that the next 1,000 days could change our world in ways we can barely even wrap our heads around. This is one of those moments in history that people are only going to understand looking back. So let me just ask you straight up. What if the next 3 years aren't just another tick on the calendar? What if this is the window where the basic rules of how we work, how we do business, and even how we see ourselves get a complete and total rewrite? That's the big, urgent question we're tackling. So why aren't more people seeing this coming? Well, the ground is literally shifting under our feet, but our brains are kind of wired for yesterday's world. And it's not because we don't have the information, it's something deeper. It's a psychological block. And this, right here, this is so important because it gets to our human nature. We expect the future to show up in a nice, straight, predictable line. Tomorrow will be a little more of today. But AI isn't like that. It's an exponential curve. It feels like nothing is happening, and then bam, everything happens at once. You go from laughing at its mistakes to this sudden, oh wow, moment where it does something you swore was impossible. That's when you know the game has changed. And that's the real kicker, isn't it? It is genuinely hard to accept a new reality. It takes real mental energy to take your old map of the world, crumple it up, and start drawing a new one from scratch. Pushing back is just a natural instinct, but it's an instinct that's becoming a real liability. Okay, so let's get into the next piece of this puzzle. Now, this is not some sci-fi story about a godlike AI showing up to solve all the universe's mysteries. Nope. The real revolution is way more boring, and because of that, it's way closer than you think. It's what you could call the good enough revolution. And this right here is the key. We do not need a perfect, all-knowing, super genius AI to change the world. We just need an AI that's competent, one that can do a specific job pretty well for way less money, and it never needs a coffee break. That's the only threshold you need to cross for massive economic disruption. For the last few years, we've thought about AI as our little helper, an assistant. It's a tool that helps us be better at our jobs. It's our co-pilot, our research buddy, something that makes us more productive. That was phase one. But we are absolutely entering a new phase. The script is flipping. AI is shifting from being the assistant that helps you to being the autonomous worker that just does the work for you. It's basically becoming the new digital labor force that lives on a chip instead of in an office. And we're not talking about some futuristic stuff here. We're talking about the nuts and bolts of the modern economy. Writing all those marketing emails, fixing simple bugs in code, creating slide decks just like this one, handling tedious data entry, or even something super annoying like moving your entire music library. These are all jobs that AI is now good enough to handle. All right, so this is where things start to get, well, a little weird. If AI can be a competent worker, what does that mean for us humans? It means we have to start thinking about the idea of our own work being replicated digitally. Just take a second and let that one sink in. It's a pretty radical idea. What's being argued here is that for certain kinds of work, especially stuff done on a computer, a human making decisions at human speed might actually become a bottleneck, an inefficiency. The AI agent might just be able to do the whole job from start to finish, faster, and with fewer errors. This brings us to a concept you could call speed shock. See, we humans operate at the speed of talking, of typing, of thinking things over. AI agents can communicate and collaborate with each other at the speed of light. They can process information at a pace that is literally beyond our comprehension. The whole rhythm of work is about to get a lot faster. So let's zoom out for a second. What happens to our whole economy when the single most important ingredient of the knowledge world, which is intelligence, suddenly becomes super abundant and dirt cheap? This right here is the economic earthquake. I mean, think about it. When the cost to generate a business plan or a marketing campaign or a piece of software, when that cost collapses down towards zero, what happens to all the industries that were built on charging a premium for that expertise? The thing that was once scarce and valuable becomes a utility, like electricity. And don't for a second think this is just about stuff that happens on a screen. AI is the missing ingredient that's going to unlock robotics in a huge way. When you give a robot a powerful brain, suddenly all sorts of physical tasks become automatable. This one-two punch, disrupting both brain work and physical work, it starts to break our most basic ideas about how an economy is supposed to function. So, all of this change, it kind of forces us to ask a much bigger, much more personal question. For hundreds of years, for many of us, our job has been our identity. If that starts to fade away, what's left? And this isn't just about money. It's about our sense of self, our purpose, our value. I mean, really think about it. If an AI can do what you do, then who are you trying to be? That is the big existential challenge right at the heart of all this. But here's the thing. The answer isn't that we become meaningless, not at all. It just means we have to find meaning in the places where it's always been hiding. In our relationships with people, in our character, in our creativity just for the joy of it, in taking care of others and being present and taking responsibility for our little corner of the world. These are the things that AI can't touch, and they're about to become more important than ever. Okay, I know. This is a lot. It can feel pretty huge, maybe even a little scary. But look, the whole point of this is not to freak you out. It's to get you ready. So, what do you do with your next 1,000 days? We're in a really weird in-between moment right now. And it's not just a threat. It is a massive opportunity. For a very short period of time, individuals and small teams who really learn how to use these tools, they can become incredibly powerful. You can build and create and launch things that used to require a whole company. This is the window. So what does that actually mean for you? It really boils down to 3 steps. First, you've got to learn this stuff. And I mean really learn it, not just play around with it. Second, start rethinking your own value. Shift away from just doing the task and focus on things that require human judgment, good taste, and building trust. And finally, build your leverage. Position yourself to be the person who guides the AI, not the person who's competing against it. And that really brings us to the final question, the one there's no escaping. The future is going to reward one thing above all else: adaptation. This isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's a choice that every single one of us is making right now in these next 1,000 days. So, will you adapt or will you be automated? The choice is yours.